if you looked up at the Florida coast tonight, you might have caught a streak of light heading for the stars. SpaceX just launched another Falcon 9 rocket, and for the hundreds of people watching from the beaches of Cape Canaveral, it was a familiar but still breathtaking sight. The launch happened at 8:41 p.m. Eastern Time from Space Launch Complex 40. That is the exact moment when a 230-foot-tall rocket packed with 1 million pounds of thrust lifted off the pad and arced eastward over the Atlantic Ocean. On board were 29 Starlink satellites, the latest addition to a constellation that now numbers in the thousands. These are not just any satellites. 13 of them have direct-to-cell capabilities, meaning they can connect your standard smartphone even in the most remote dead zones on the planet. It is a kind of technology that sounds like science fiction, but tonight, it just became routine. And that is the thing about SpaceX launches these days. They have become almost mundane. We have seen so many boosters land on drone ships, so many sonic booms rattle the central Florida coast, that we sometimes forget what we are actually watching. This was a 26th flight for this particular first stage booster, a piece of hardware that has now traveled to space and back more times than most spacecraft in history. The booster separated about 2.5 minutes into flight, flipped around, and began its descent back to Earth. It landed perfectly on a drone ship named Of Course I Still Love You, stationed hundreds of miles downrange in the Atlantic. For the engineers in Hawthorne, California, watching that landing was probably just another checkmark on a to-do list. But think about that for a second. A rocket launched from Florida, sent its payload toward orbit, and then parked itself on a moving target in the ocean with pinpoint accuracy. That is not routine. That is miraculous. The satellites will deploy about an hour after launch, slowly spreading out in low Earth orbit like a string of pearls. They will join a network that now provides internet coverage to over 4 million customers worldwide, including commercial airliners, cargo ships crossing the Pacific, and remote villages in Ukraine. The global demand for bandwidth is insatiable, and every one of these launches add capacity to a system that is literally connecting the planet. But here's a question we should be asking. If SpaceX can launch 29 satellites every few days, if they can reuse boosters 24 times, why is the rest of the space industry still struggling to get off the ground? The answer is vertical integration and relentless iteration. SpaceX builds almost everything in-house. They fail fast, fix quickly, and launch again. It is a model that has left traditional aerospace contractors in the dust. Tonight's launch was originally scheduled for earlier in the week, but got pushed by weather. That happens often in Florida, where afternoon thunderstorms can scrub a mission in minutes. But when the window opened and the countdown hit 0, there was no holding back. The Falcon 9 climbed through scattered clouds and disappeared into the blackness above, leaving only a lingering exhaust plume glowing orange in the twilight. For the people who design, build, and fly these rockets, tonight was just another day at the office. But for the rest of us, it was a reminder that we are living in the future. We watch rockets land themselves on ships. We carry phones that connect to satellites. We expect global internet coverage like we expect running water. The next launch is already on the calendar. And the one after that. And the one after that. SpaceX is aiming for more than 150 missions this year, which averages out to a launch every 2.5 days. At that pace, it is easy to become numb to the spectacle. But next time you see that streak of light climbing skyward, remember what it represents. Thousands of people working toward a goal that seemed impossible 20 years ago. A company that decided reusability was the only path forward. And a future where space is not just for astronauts, but for all of us. Tonight, 29 satellites join the network. Tomorrow, the world gets a little more connected.